besties. You've found your community bestie to share thoughts and opinions, recap the shows we love.
Having too much fun.
Bravo should be fun.
And have piping hot gossip sessions about the celebrities and Bravo lebs we love, hate, and love to hate.
He went on a podcast claiming he had a threesome with 2 women from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Immediately, I was like, I wonder if it's Brandy and Carlton.
I'm Caitlin Marshall, your pop culture and Bravo bestie.
Allegedly allegations.
And if you enjoy fun conversation between friends, listening to your bestie rant about shows we can't get enough of, plus enjoy a little bit of, well, ridiculousness.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. There's a spider that is coming down. Hold on.
It's like the Blair Witch Project.
Oh my God. Has anybody seen my ring?
Oh my God.
I don't want to ruin the party or anything.
Have you seen my ring? Oh my God. Can you look on the floor for my ring? God, someone's gonna kill me.
Don't mess with me because I will come.
What? Oh.
Feel free to leave that in for whatever entertainment purposes.
You're in the right place. So thanks for joining me on Besties by Bravo.
Hi, besties. Thank you for joining me today. It is Thursday, January 23rd. And I know I've said before that I'm back on YouTube, but I actually am this time. I had some issues with uploading the last few times, and I was like, I don't have time for this. I can't do it. And I basically went into a ADHD comatose when it came to YouTube. So all that is to say, I am back. So if you were listening on audio and you just want to see this pathetic little face, go ahead and head on over to YouTube. It is now at Besties by Caitlin. Same as all of my socials. Caitlin. Okay, enough of that. We are going to be covering the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion part 1. Now, for those of you who are listening on audio, this is going to be 2 parts. And for those of you on YouTube, hope you're comfy or, I don't know, deep cleaning something very messy because it's going to be long. Y'all know me and my notes, and I have so many. Last bit of housekeeping. I am battling my second bout of the pre-K plague in 2 weeks. Isn't that fun? It's cute. Sometimes I will start sounding like Chucky from Rugrats. That's what it makes me think of. You know what I mean? So bear with me. I'm doing my best. I don't want you to hear a snot-nosed, person talking to you. Okay, let's get into it. All right. Wow. That preview of what Jared Osmond allegedly said to Bronwyn. Oh my gosh, saying that I'm twice the size of any man you've ever been with. Sir. I, number 1, don't want to know that, and I highly doubt Bronwyn did. 2, I highly doubt that, because the more you have to talk about it, I think we all know, the less it's true. Shall we say? Okay, so we start with Whitney coming in after Lisa has, and Whitney and Heather do their little friendship, handshake, booty bump thing, and Lisa is so annoyed that she is breathing the same air bubble as Whitney. Wild Rose. I mean, clearly you can tell Lisa is wishing we were back to those COVID-19 protocols. She's like, 6 feet. I need 6 feet away from liars. But after Whitney and Heather do their whole bestie giggly routine, Whitney just goes, "Hi, Lisa." And Lisa's like, "Hey, get away from me." When Bronwyn comes in, I have to be honest, I actually like her reunion look even more than I already did. I know there was a vote on Watch What Happens Live who had the best reunion look, and I was shocked that everyone said Bronwyn over Angie. I still think Angie had the best reunion look, I'm just saying. But I'm seeing it now more from Bronwyn. It didn't photograph the same way it looked on camera in motion. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I don't understand these type of things sometimes. But Lisa and Heather definitely share a little look about Bronwyn when she walks by. And they're kind of like slightly jelly that they know Bronwyn just like brought it fashion wise. Of course, Bronwyn was going to. It's Bronwyn. And y'all bear with me on this. I know that I am being a flip floppy little pancake when it comes to Bronwyn Newport. I cannot fully decide how I feel about her. Sometimes she drives me nuts the way she'll twist what's said. And then sometimes I'm like, but she makes a point and I'll like her. So I haven't made a decision on Bronwyn yet. Okay. So I think whenever Whitney says she's worried she won't be able to see over Bronwyn's sleeves, I got to be honest, it's a valid point. I think I'd be more annoyed about my lighting getting all screwed up than whether or not Andy's going to see her. Don't worry, Whitney. Andy will not forget that you were there. He knows. It's hard to forget. Mary and Angie. Okay, I'm sorry. Still, Angie's my winner for best dressed, hands down. Maybe it's because she's in one of my favorite colors, pinkish, purplish pink. Okay, she's wearing like magenta. I guess the theme must have been like jewel tones. You know what I mean? Angie sits down and she says, "How about that? From bench warming bitch to first chair." I mean, facts. Meredith comes in. She looks very Marilyn Monroe, gorgeous. Andy starts by saying to avoid a redo of Mexico that they are now informing them they are in fact being recorded. And Andy asks Heather why she has no voice. And she says it's from being on book tour for Good Time Girl. Now he gets to Lisa and asks how her flight was to New York. And she says, "There was no coach, but I'm tagged in pictures every day of people either in 17C or in first class." We see Bronwyn like, Whitney is wearing her prism jewelry. Okay. Rihanna apparently started following Bronwyn and DM'd her. And Heather is like seething because remember how it was first Heather on this cast who got followed by Rihanna? Mary says she's here and clocked in. And Andy asks how Robert Jr. is doing, but she says good. But remember, some of this recent social media activity from Robert Jr. has not been great, unfortunately. Thinking about him, hope everything is healthy and well. Okay. So Angie, we did hear this on social media. Okay. We heard this as soon as it all happened. But Andy says to her that he heard she and Brittany showed up in the same dress and that Angie won that battle out because obviously, I mean, here, listen, like I'm sure that dress genuinely had to have looked beautiful on Brittany, but it was meant for Angie to have that moment. Sorry. Angie says she's going to be good for the economy because she keeps her clothes and doesn't return them. Obviously referring to Brittany. But for something like this, I have to say, I would imagine you could, like borrow from somewhere. I mean, listen, I know from my time working in luxury fashion that you can absolutely get a stylist and they don't have to be a really super well-known stylist. They just have to be able to have an account. And yeah, they just put a hold on their card and they have to return it after a certain amount of time. But it's not always easy to get a stylist. Probably not in Salt Lake City. I don't know. They call it Small Lake City because everyone knows each other. But I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there are plenty of stylists there. Andy says to Lisa and Angie he's worried because he's in between them and wants to protect his ears. So he wants to have a safe word. Lisa says her safe word is going to be pesos. And of course, Angie says, Opa. Did you know Angie's Greek? You haven't heard that yet, have you? He asks if anyone is coming in today wanting to repair a certain relationship or if anyone has a goal that he can help with, just crossing the finish line on some resolution. And Bronwyn says after watching things back, she understands a lot more now that it's over and she's willing to apologize for some certain things and she's hoping to receive some apologies as well. Good luck with that, Bronwyn. I mean, love the enthusiasm. Whitney ends up saying,
"I would love to be able to have a conversation with Lisa, and I'd like to get to the bottom of the root of where the problems lie. And I would love to be able to get a word in, so I'd love to be able to have a conversation with you.
Sometimes it's an unnecessary word salad, but Lisa's just like, okay. Our first segment is Andy saying what to do. Oh gosh, see my notes. I've already screwed up. I started these way too early in the morning. All right, our first segment is Andy saying what do Lisa and Angie's parenting, a podcast interview with Whitney, and Heather's loyalty all have in common? They all caused epic drama that ricocheted through mountains of Salt Lake City, unleashing an avalanche of chaos, which threatened to bury old friendships and new connections alike. So it's the flashback of Lisa being angry at the Bezos party that Angie and Heather told Whitney about the conversation that they had where Lisa was pretty pissed off about, Whitney saying Lisa was the new villain on this podcast. Or no, it was, well, not just this podcast. It was on Nick Vial's podcast, The Vial Files. Is it Vial or Vial? Vial, whatever, who cares? Anyway, then it's Angie saying she doesn't let her kid play video games until, 1:00 in the morning, after Lisa had said, oh, well, you always have to go because it's like, oh, wait, Electra's calling me. Then it's the Alibaba shit. And then it's Lisa and Whitney at the anniversary party, with Whitney claiming what she allegedly heard or didn't hear from Up and Adam. And, it all was referring to who gave the information on Alibaba and Prism to the social media accounts. Andy prefaces again that he wants it to be a conversation and for people to be able to get a word in. Good luck to you as well, Andy. Love the enthusiasm, though. A viewer asked Whitney, how do you explain Alibaba having the same stock photos as the Prism website? Whitney, I'm so sorry, you guys. This was just, I know it's her business and she's passionate about it. And so that's why she got very emotional about it. But at the same time, okay. She goes,
that photo was there for about 48 hours as a placeholder that was sent from our vendor. It's not Alibaba. We always do a photo shoot. We hadn't had a chance. My partner is in Vancouver. She was doing the photo shoot in Vancouver, and that photo was there as a placeholder for a short period of time that we swapped out once we had a model for it.
Oh, Whitney. Okay. So let's be real here. At best, your vendor sources to you or provides to you and Alibaba. At worst, it's Alibaba. This is genuinely so not the answer that you didn't get the chance to shoot it with a model. That explains nothing. The question was, how do you explain the placeholder photo being the exact same one as what's on Alibaba? Then Whitney goes on to say,
I do not source from Alibaba. I have a curated fashion affordable line. So because our biggest complaint was that people want to buy my jewelry, but they can't afford it. So I curated fashion pieces,
also known as fake metal. Okay.
That we tie in an intention to it when you receive the box. We have our custom designs that we do. I would not tattoo something Alibaba.
And she's showing her tattoo she has on her arm that's supposed to be her Prism tattoo, which, how hilarious is it that it sounds like prison tattoo? I can't get that out of my head. Prism tattoo, prison tattoo. It's surely someone got confused by her saying that at some point. Surely. Anyway, she's just not hearing herself at all. And I highly doubt she would tattoo an Alibaba piece on her arm. I guarantee she tattooed one of their quote unquote custom pieces. Come on, girl. Come on. But Lisa just yells at her that she gets what she's talking about. I get what you're talking about, Whitney. I get it. The next viewer question is to Lisa, that the Alibaba rumor wasn't widely known. And listen, y'all, maybe I'm too inundated by all the Bravo shit on my social media, but it was very well known if you follow at least one or two Bravo social media accounts. Sorry. And I'm so tired of them using the words blogger. Do y'all sound so outdated? Content creator. Bloggers right? Like bloggers do something totally different. Okay. That's like taking away from bloggers, in my opinion. It's taking away from bloggers and taking away from content creators. All right. Anyway, that only one quote unquote blogger posted about it. So why bring it up on the show if not to discredit Whitney's business? Lisa says it's not true that only one content creator posted about it. And she is correct about that. There were multiple. Lisa says there were a bunch of articles, which is also true, and says she defended Whitney and that she had a very clear conversation with Meredith and that she felt bad for Whitney. Maybe. Whitney ends up going,
If you plant a story, if you bring it to camera, your intention was to get it out there.
Lisa points out that it was already out there because it was. And she says she didn't bring it to camera. Andy points out that a random, I refuse to say blogger, content creator with 10,000 followers versus the millions of people they have on the platform they have is very different. Yeah, okay. But Lisa says it was going to be a thing regardless and that she defended Whitney. Meredith goes, what I did is I took something that was already brought up on camera and made sure you found out about it. Unlike what has been done to me repeatedly, where it's gone behind my back for weeks on end until I watch. Okay, Meredith, if you really wanted to make sure Whitney found out in a kind way, you would have pulled her aside, but you punted it over to Heather. And yeah, Whitney would have received it. I don't know. She wouldn't have received it well for Meredith, to be honest. That's fair. No, she wouldn't have. Hell no. But this wasn't totally what you were doing, Meredith. Come on. Whitney says that Meredith stood at the bar with Heather and insinuated that,
oh, I feel bad for her. She has problems in her business. There was no problem.
Andy points out Meredith brought it to Heather and not Whitney, which, yeah, exactly. And Meredith says they were barely speaking, which also exactly what I was saying. It wouldn't have worked out. Whitney says,
oh, is that how you all stay on your moral high ground? Is that you say it behind my back and let my cousin bring it to me? So that's morally high ground?
Whitney, I don't understand what you're stringing together in sentences sometimes. I get it, but I don't. Meredith just goes, I made sure you found out. I mean, you did. That you did, Miss Mayor. The next question is, Lisa, you told your cybersecurity team to go the distance on this. Sean, I want to go the distance on this. What evidence were they able to find that proves you were not involved in planning the story? Lisa says she lost her mind when she was accused by Whitney of something she didn't do, and that she felt like Whitney told other people, which we have proof of the same situation. And Andy asks if they found evidence, but Lisa just tells him to listen. Okay. And Whitney jumps in asking if they found evidence that Lisa did not plant the story. Lisa says she kept asking Whitney to show her proof that Lisa planted this story, but Whitney kept saying that she had proof Lisa did this, but that she never gave Lisa the evidence of proof of Lisa doing this. I mean, it's sometimes these women just like, it's very circular and just... Lisa says she was like, good, let's get Sean involved. Give me the IP addresses, everything. Sean can work with like local police and find out where shit is coming from. And she never gave me proof because she didn't have any. Whitney says,
you know who it is. You have his number.
Clearly, we're talking about Up and Adam again. And Lisa's like, I don't have his number. Whitney goes,
your bestie does, so you can get it from her.
We just pan over to Meredith, who's like, Lisa reminds Whitney that Whitney has Adam's number and says that Whitney talks to him on the regular. And then she just says to Whitney, I should send you Sean's bill. Andy concludes that no evidence was found on either end, because obviously. Next question is, Angie, that Heather betrayed your trust when she told Lisa your video game comment. Why do you think Heather prioritizes her friendship with Lisa over her friendship with you? Did that make you question your friendship with Heather? And Angie says she knows Heather loves her, but it made her question where she stood with her, and that Heather twisted her words and that she never said Lisa was a bad mom. Heather denies that she told Lisa, Angie said that she was a bad mom, but Lisa says, it is a bad mom to say your kid is running lawless and I babysit him with electronics. Y'all, I don't know why the image of sweet, precious Henry being a lawless little outlaw pops in my head, but he'd be the sweetest little outlaw in the West, honey. Heather says, or I'm sorry, Heather has been saying that she was mainly trying to tell Lisa that it was out of character for Angie and that she'd never seen Angie go low like that. Okay, but also Heather was wanting to run to Queen Bee, the most popular girl in the room, and be like, please love me. I just want to be your friend. Look how ride or die I am. Come on, Heather. We know that's what you were doing. I love you too, but that's what you were doing. Angie tells Heather she made it worse when she took it to Lisa, which is true. But we then get a split screen of Angie and Lisa talking over each other, with Andy whipping his head back and forth so fast that when I paused this moment for trying to take notes of what they were actually saying, his face is just a literal blur, like vroom. Andy ends up going,
Bezos, Opa, okay, everybody's talking at once.
and Lisa just goes, she just started talking to me. As Andy's telling her there needs to be room for some back and forth. And we get Mary saying she needs a mute button. What a throwback. Remember that on the bus or the Sprinter van? Bus. Come on, Caitlin, this is the show with all the Sprinter vans. When Mary said to Lisa she needs a mute button, and Lisa said, I don't have a mute button. I'm on play all day. But Lisa tells Andy, I know, we're like talking. And I'm like, hey, just so you know, I gave you a pass. Whitney quietly sneaks in,
You want to borrow my ball gag?
oh my God. Bronwyn's face at that was like, are you, what the fuck? Now, no one else hears that. But anyway, Angie ends up telling, where am I? So sorry. Angie, whoa. All right. Angie says, okay. Lisa tells Angie again, I literally gave you a pass. I talk to you all the time on the phone. And I was like, that's a fucking shitty thing to say. I did tell Bronwyn, but I also said, I'm going to address it with Angie. I don't want anyone going to Angie with this. It's like, that was a big deal. And Bronwyn says that Lisa told her it made her upset and cry, and that Angie should know if Lisa's upset with her. And this is when Lisa goes, Bronwyn, do you want to be involved? And Bronwyn just goes, well, yeah, let's go. And Lisa starts clapping those hands, saying, oh God, she's piping up. And Bronwyn tells her, if you want to get big with me, let's get big, Lisa. I can play too. Let's go. Lisa just looks completely deflated at that comeback. She just says, I don't, but whatever. Oh gosh, Lisa really had the air let out of her balloon there, huh? Bronwyn tells Lisa that she saw Lisa was furious with Angie for repeating a conversation to Whitney, but that Lisa has repeated conversations to her, and she asks, what are the standards here? Conversations are repeatable when it's on that couch regarding Lisa, Heather, and Meredith. Lisa says she asked Bronwyn not to repeat the conversation to Angie, but Bronwyn says, nah, girl, you didn't. You didn't ask me to do that, okay? And that all Lisa said to her was she's really upset with Angie. Lisa is saying she said she could handle it herself. And we get the actual statement, which happens to be basically in this, well, it's in this flashback, which happens to be basically exactly what both Bronwyn and Lisa are saying without their own convenient narratives mixed in there. Because what Lisa said was, I'm really upset. I guess I should address this with Angie. That is what she said. Bronwyn says she told Angie that Lisa was upset and that Angie should be prepared to apologize. Listen, this is one of the ways that Bronwyn was going wrong with Lisa throughout the season, is in her attempts to get Lisa back on her side.
Love me. I'm loyal. Please love me.
She would go and do things like trying to prove loyalty, trying to show, look, I will trust you, trust me. And it wouldn't be at all to her own benefit. Now, Heather tells Angie that she knows her and her relationship with Lisa, and that it felt like a shift in that relationship whenever She said that about Lisa's parenting. Angie says she wanted to wait. Oh, I'm sorry. Jeez, y'all. Remember, not feeling so great. My voice is starting to go, so we might take little breaks for those of you here on YouTube. So if you suddenly there seems like there's a glitch in what's happening, it's because I had to get a sip of water because it's kind of like knives are in my throat. We're little spiky balls. Anyway, Heather tells Angie she knows her and her relationship with Lisa, and it felt like a shift in their relationship. She says,
I was trying to navigate this newfound loyalty and deep appreciation I have for Lisa.
y'all, I love Heather. I do. I love our good time girl. I do have a question. Does Heather ever say anything just simply? Because Heather is incredibly intelligent. It just feels sometimes like maybe every conversation and statement is a line to be written in a chapter of her book. It's like she doesn't take that hat off. Andy asks where Lisa and Angie stand today. And, they did get back on track at the aquarium. They seemed like they were in a good place, but obviously the finale, it was very different. Angie says she wanted to wait until the reunion to talk to Lisa or talk about things with her because she feels, and this is also true, that things can get misconstrued when they're said on the phone, through text, things like that. Andy then brings up what Angie also has done on her phone, which was tweeting that Lisa has a Park City quote unquote mystery man who pays for her lip filler. And we get a screenshot of the tweet, which says, my lips are full as my life, thanks to my doctor who I pay with my own Amex card. Not a Park City mystery man's. Unlike Lisa's G-Wagon, my lips can't get repoed. I'm not your bestie in prison, so I'm not interested in a gangbang. But it's cute you two had to team up. Night. Obviously, she's referring to Lisa and Meredith. Angie says that she fired back because Meredith had said Angie was a backup dancer to Jen Shaw. And Angie goes, she's in jail and I'm sitting here. Ooh, okay, Ange. Okay. Meredith says she was asked how she reacted to the scroll prop thing that Angie brought at the beginning. And this was in an interview, and that's how she answered. Angie's pretty hung up on that backup dancer part, though, y'all. I don't blame her. And Lisa starts trying to say she knows what Meredith was talking about, but Angie tells her, hold on. Don't get involved. Don't insert yourself again, Lisa. And she says she wants to get to Lisa, but she wants to start with Meredith. Andy says Lisa is trying to help, and Lisa just goes, I'm trying to help. Meredith reminds Angie of the WAP video Monica and Angie did with Jen, and that Angie was a quote unquote backup dancer. I mean, kind of. Yeah, I guess she was in a way. Meredith reminds Angie of the WAP video Monica and Angie did with Jen, and that Angie was a backup dancer. Angie is saying that Meredith said she should go back to that, but Meredith corrects her saying, I said I liked you better when you were a backup dancer with Monica in Jen Shaw's WAP video. I'm not entirely sure what Angie means at this moment, but maybe someone can explain it to me. Tell me in the comments on YouTube or something because I was a little confused. Angie goes, well, you know what? I've been solo since I was 6 years old and I'm nobody's backup dancer. Why since 6? Is that when her mom passed? Because if that's what it is, that's very sad. Meredith says, oh, this is the problem, that you were a backup dancer in a video and I said it. Angie says she doesn't even know how to dance, which we have seen. Okay, it's true. It's true. And Andy asks Angie why she's so offended specifically by the backup dancer comment. And, because she did do, sorry, y'all, God, the video with Jen and Monica. And Angie ends up saying that it's because Meredith was just trying to take a jab at her. But Meredith reminds her, well, it's on the internet and everyone has seen it. I mean, yeah, I guess it's true. It wasn't, whatever. And It becomes a back and forth about whether she was a backup dancer in this video or not. Okay. Angie says essentially this doesn't matter because this is what she's saying was the start of the tweet war. And that she tweeted that Greeks are known to be great dancers, and that's how she danced her way to center stage with a little snowflake emoji, center snowflake. But Angie then brings up that Lisa then piped in on the Twitter war here, saying, Mazel tov. But Lisa saying the only reason she did that was because Meredith had said the only scroll she reads is the Torah, and that it's because Lisa is also Jewish. That's her reasoning for why she said it. But Angie's like, no, Lisa, you knew. Two things, my friends. Besties, two things can be true at the same time. Angie says Lisa is the queen of Twitter and absolutely knew. Andy brings up the G-Wagon repossession aspect. And Lisa goes, I mean, I don't even know why you'd say that. And there's a new 2025 Porsche sitting right next to it. And there's a new 911 coming. I don't know why my G-Wagon would ever get repossessed. And we get a photo. Love that Lisa had to take a photo of her cars to prove that she does indeed have them. Andy asks how Angie would even know about Lisa's car being repossessed, and she says she heard it at dinner. Heather goes, well, you told me that Bronwyn told you that her G-Wagon got repossessed. Oops. I mean, at least Angie was trying to protect her source. And Angie just goes, that's where I heard it at dinner. Lisa asks Bronwyn why she would be saying that. And Bronwyn says we were not in a good place and that someone sent her a snarky message. So she jokingly told Angie and that she wishes people would not send her those type of messages. But then she says, I should probably not have repeated it to her, but I am not the one who tweeted it to the world. Your beef is with Angie in this regard. Andy brings up the $4 million necklace and says he kind of thought Bronwyn would wear it to the reunion. Bronwyn says, I thought about it because I thought that would clear up a lot of questions. And Andy's like, okay, what questions? And she tells him that there are questions about whether she has it and can even wear it. And that a lot of people have tweeted, texted, and messaged her. Heather's asking, like, what are they questioning you about the necklace? Like whether it was rented or what? And Bronwyn says, no. So I went to their vault and picked out a few pieces and they brought stuff to me. And I ended up with, well, you didn't see the earrings, not the studs, but I ended up with a pair of hoop earrings. And then they made me a smaller version of that necklace that I tried on that day. Heather says she doesn't get why there were questions. And Bronwyn says she thinks it's about why would Todd buy such an expensive necklace and do it on camera? I mean, fair question, right? Lisa says that Emma said she didn't buy it. I'm friends with Emma, and she said you guys didn't buy it or the hoop earrings or the rings or the necklace. Yeah, she said that nothing was purchased. Bronwyn's saying she's going to have to take that up with Emma, and it's very weird a jeweler would tell someone what she did or did not buy. I fully agree with that too. That's very odd. Very, very odd. I mean, you have a problem with a customer. You take that up with the customer, but okay. Now, here's the moment that Whitney's ears perk up because she sees this as an opportunity to try and prove that Lisa talks to people to get dirt and then plant information. Because the wheels are that little hamster in Whitney's head is huffing and puffing on that little hamster wheel. Because her line, oh my gosh, y'all, very sick, trying to keep it together. Her thought process here is this is going to prove that Lisa reaches out to people to gather information so that then she can go tell other people to put it out there on the internet, and that's why Bronwyn was getting questioned on it by multiple people. So Whitney asks Lisa why she asked about what Bronwyn bought, and Lisa says she didn't ask. Bronwyn goes, oh, she reached out to you to tell you what my husband purchased for me. And Lisa's like, yeah. Angie's just like, Lisa, come on. She did not call you. That seems weird. Lisa asks how she would know that she was working with Emma, as in Bronwyn. And Angie points out how unprofessional that is if this Emma really did do that. Fully agree. Full stop agree. Angie asks Bronwyn if she really thinks that this Emma person would do that. And Bronwyn says she doesn't think Emma would. Wow. Well, we're about to find out. That wrong about that, Bron. Mary says, I would never shop with her if that's what she does. I wouldn't either. But Emma, you probably just lost a lot of clients because that ain't worth it, honey. Lisa goes, she said nothing was purchased and you've never purchased anything from them. So I was like, who was that woman that came to Palm Springs? So I went back and watched to see if we got the name of that woman who came to Palm Springs with the jewelry, who had to drive all the way from LA to bring that jewelry. I didn't see a chyron for her name. But Bronwyn mentions someone named Norman multiple times that they were quote unquote working with at the jeweler, but she never says the name Emma. Now, that woman, if that was Emma, I genuinely don't know. But she would have every right to be very annoyed. She had to drive the depending on where you are in LA, 2.5 to 3 hours to Palm Springs and then back for them not to purchase it and just wear a necklace to dinner. Be very annoying. Andy just wants to set the record straight by clarifying that Bronwyn did not get the $4 million necklace. Oh my God, the way he said this, I knew Bronwyn was not going to like it. But that you, quote unquote, got a lesser, smaller weight carat. And Bronwyn just says, yes, a smaller carat weight is what she got. And Lisa goes, from them? Bronwyn's like, yes, from them. And Lisa says again that Emma said no. And she says that to Heather. Angie asks Lisa why this Emma would tell her about this purchase or not purchase. And it's clarified that Emma works there and that she doesn't own it. But Lisa says that Emma told her she loans Bronwyn jewelry. Bronwyn denies being loaned any jewelry by anyone. Angie asks Lisa, like, girl, she just called you and was like, hey, Lisa, guess what? Bronwyn didn't purchase anything. So I just wanted you to know that. And Lisa says, no, she just texted me out of the blue. And she said, why does Bronwyn keep saying they bought the necklace? They never bought the necklace. I mean, that's still that's very odd to go to Lisa and ask her why Bronwyn is or isn't saying she bought a necklace. Why is that Lisa's business? And y'all know I love me some Baby Gorgeous, but that you got to admit that's a little odd. I mean, at least I think it is. Anyway, Lisa says she hasn't talked to Emma in about 2 years, but that she does know her. And Whitney wants to see the text message. Of course you do, Whitney. Lisa pulls up her phone to bring it all out. And she says, she said more than just that too. Bronwyn's like, oh, now she wants to show more things that were said. Lisa gives her phone to Andy and she says that Emma said the hoops that Bronwyn says she purchased were hoops that Bronwyn told them she was sending a wire transfer for, but that she never did. And she returned the hoops because Todd didn't like them. Lisa says that Emma told her that Bronwyn just sent them back in like plastic or something. Bronwyn asks why Emma would be messaging Lisa this out of the blue if Lisa doesn't know her, but again, Lisa did say that she knew her, and she confirms as much, saying that Bronwyn met Emma at Lisa's Fresh Wolf party. Interesting. Whitney asks what has been asked for the millionth time, but with a very different agenda. Okay, because I think Whitney is genuinely thinking Lisa reached out to Emma so she could give this information to a quote unquote blogger, content creator. Lisa's telling Bronwyn that Emma is frustrated with her. And I am cracking up that we pan over to Andy and he's just still sitting there. He's like, what's the tea? Continuing to go through all the messages. And Bronwyn says the next time she sees Lisa, she'll be sure to wear the necklace and earrings. And Lisa's just like, yeah, please do. Bronwyn says, that's disgusting. I don't know that we'll see each other anytime soon, but that's disgusting. Andy says the messages are great and that this Emma person felt very burned by Bronwyn. And Bronwyn says, well, Lisa, you went home and posted the fashion show receipts regarding that jumpsuit that she wore to the Tiffany brunch, breakfast at Tiffany's brunch, I should say, at Mary's house, that Mary was super annoyed. She was wearing the same jumpsuit that Mary owns. And Bronwyn says that she's just going to have to apparently go home and post receipts of her jewelry. Now it's the Bronwyn is our newest housewife package. In this package, we actually see that Heather was very factual in her back and forth with Whitney and Bronwyn and what was actually said when other people were not present. So it is nice to see that at least someone didn't completely and totally skew information in the game of telephone. Now, we do start off with Bronwyn and Lisa's friendship, and Andy asks Bronwyn when the last time was that she and Lisa have spoken after Bronwyn said in an interview recently that she and Lisa are on a quote-unquote timeout. She and Lisa agree it's been about 6 weeks or so, and Andy brings up Lisa saying recently that she is done recommending friends for this show. Off the top of my head, I was like, oh, Jenny, right? That was a short-lived one. But Lisa says she doesn't regret recommending Bronwyn when she's asked, but that she's completely done recommending people. And that she's the transplant to Utah who's always doing the recommendations and referrals, and that the locals need to do it more from now on. And Andy's like, well, who all did you refer? She starts off that actually it was Lisa who referred Heather, and through Heather came Whitney, which clearly is a huge part of why she's done. Then Angie H, Jenny, and Andy brings up Angie K, but Lisa says that Angie K came on as a friend to all of them and that Angie was going to do a shampoo ball season 4. What? The hell is a shampoo ball? So the viewer question now is, Bronwyn, was it disappointing to come on the show as Lisa's friend to have her turn on you? Bronwyn says she feels differently now than when they were filming and that she felt at that time that Lisa wasn't being a good friend to her. And interestingly enough, Lisa actually nods at this. And then Bronwyn says that she kept thinking something specific went wrong between her and Lisa, and that we see her kind of chasing Lisa that whole season, constantly asking, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? And that's what Lisa took as Bronwyn nitpicking her. But that after watching it back, Bronwyn seeing her dynamic, as in Lisa's dynamic with Heather and Angie, and the things that Lisa had said in confessionals, Bronwyn doesn't think anything went wrong, but that she was not aware that she and Lisa weren't as close and that they were just social friends. Now, y'all, I know Bronwyn can drive me nuts, but this actually hurts my heart for her because I can see that she thought Lisa viewed her as a good friend and in a certain way if she would recommend her for this show and want her to be on the show with her. But let's go ahead and call a spade a spade. Lisa was clearly just trying to think of anyone fabulous and rich that she didn't hate. Bronwyn was expecting a really good friendship from Lisa, as that's what she thought they were. And when she believes Lisa, at the same time now, only views that friendship as a social friendship. So Andy asks Lisa what her reaction is to Bronwyn saying all of that. And Lisa says, I enjoy Bronwyn, but it was definitely more of a social friendship. We weren't embedded in each other's lives. We didn't tell each other our deepest, darkest secrets. And I've always, thought highly of her. Jeez. We're going to see later that Bronwyn did share one of her deepest secrets with Lisa, but I very sadly think what Bronwyn was doing was whatever she could to get Lisa to trust her and get closer to her by showing Lisa she trusted her with the information about Gwen's biological paternal grandparents. Heather is asked about whether she regrets not giving Bronwyn a chance and treating Bronwyn the way she did after having watched the season back. And Heather says she got a quick read on Bronwyn and that she believed she understood how Bronwyn felt about everyone, but that when she heard Whitney's version of her interaction with Bronwyn, it surprised her. But she also says she doesn't regret how she clocked Bronwyn at the beginning. And Bronwyn tries to say, look, there was more to the conversation in that car with Whitney. than what was shown, I should say. And that she told Whitney she didn't get a good first impression of her when Whitney stormed out of the Bezos party. Heather reminds Bronwyn that she told Whitney that her
Do you want to see a healed Whitney? F you, Lisa Barlow.
was iconic. And here's one of the things I am starting to learn about Bronwyn is that she says things that most people would automatically take one way, but maybe she doesn't always mean them in the assumed way. And I'm not talking about sarcasm. I think maybe she meant that was iconic in like the most cringe way. Do you know what I mean? Y'all, I told you I'm a little pancake. The way I keep flipping, flopping back and forth. Damn it. Whitney asks Bronwyn about how she had said many times on camera that no one was there for her when they were filming, and that she feels as though she was very supportive of Bronwyn and that
Publicly, you won't claim me as a friend.
it's kind of sad. I'm not going to lie. I know I'm laughing at Whitney, but it is kind of sad. That makes me feel bad that she feels that way. Bronwyn admits that she sees that Whitney was in fact very supportive of her, which she was, and that as she's watched it back, she realizes she was in a place during filming where she thought she was in a better place with Lisa. And that she was just like in this constant state of trying to fix things with Lisa, and that she put Lisa on this higher pedestal than everyone else. So her focus was on finding these avenues to try and fix things with Lisa. And in that, she did overlook the other friendships she could have formed. And I think that's very clear. You know, the way she threw Angie and Whitney under the bus so unnecessarily at that camping day. Whitney says she accepts that because her relationship with Bronwyn
Is completely separate from the one I have with Lisa.
Now we get a new viewer question, which is, Heather, you seemed offended that Bronwyn wanted to mend things before Palm Springs. Can you blame her for not wanting to invite people she's not in good standing with? Well, Heather says, it was a move. I mean, it was a couple's trip. I think I was never invited. I was never going to go on that trip. And it was very clear to me the minute I walked in your house that I was there to sing for my supper. And it felt hurtful. Like, why would you want to create fractures in friendships that are like newly fragile, you know? Heather loves to, I know I'm harping on the way Heather talks, but sometimes it's like, girl, everything is devastating, fragile, fractured. Armor. We wear our armor to protect ourselves. Sometimes I'm like, Heather, it does not have to be that dramatic, girlfriend. Bronwyn asks if anyone saw in that whole scene that she was trying to only ask Heather over to her house in order to embarrass her. Heather says it doesn't matter what Bronwyn projected, but what actually happened. Listen, y'all, I will still, I do like Heather, and I've been flippy floppy on old Bronwyn, but I do think Heather was kind of a dick to Bronwyn during that. To me, it looked like Bronwyn was genuinely trying to move forward, but this was also at that time before we knew Bronwyn, as opposed to Ramona being the apologizer. Bronwyn is a bit of the, I don't know. What's a superhero name that's the opposite? The apology victim. That's not a superhero. Okay, whatever. Andy ends up asking Whitney what she thinks, and Whitney says,
I know Heather so well, so I could see where Heather's perspective was coming from. The walls went up right away, but I also see Bronwyn trying, so I think it just was a really sad miss, but I understand both perspectives.
in that particular situation where we were at and how much we knew about Bronwyn versus how much we knew about Heather, I still don't totally see Heather's perspective in it as much as I could, in a way that I could say I see it equally. Okay. I can see that Heather was like, oh, so you just wanted to try and make me apologize and let me know if I don't, I can't go on the trip. But it would have been a lot easier for Heather to just be like, look, because Bronwyn did apologize to Heather in that moment. So if Bronwyn hadn't, I might be having a different feeling about it. Okay. That's just where I'm at with it. The next viewer question is a viewer blaming Heather's weight loss on Heather having a quote unquote edge to her and that she seemed like a mean girl this season. Okay, y'all, let's be real. Andy absolutely softened whatever this viewer actually said. Let's be real. Heather says she actually had a lot more confidence season 1 because she felt like an underdog and felt okay standing up for herself. She says the show strips you of your ego and your confidence, and that she feels like she was a lot meaner and had more rage season 1 than she did this season. Mary says she feels like this Heather is different and that this Heather likes herself more and is pouring more love into herself, and that when she met Heather 5 years ago, she was very dark, she was not happy, and that she was trying to climb out of a really deep place that she had been left in from whoever ridiculed her and tore her down, and that she seems much more self-assured now, and that she has more confidence to come after somebody if she needs to. Heather ends up saying, you have to be confident to show up when or after Andy tells her he's always viewed her as being confident, excuse me. Heather says, you have to be confident to show up when no clothes fit. I'm wearing a stretchy jumpsuit and I'm next to all these beautiful women. I had confidence in spades to do this whole show, which, I think for a lot of us viewers to see a woman that was not a size 0, it was refreshing. And Heather is still not a size 0. She's beautiful and she's always been beautiful. She's very healthy. And, at the end of the day, whatever size she is, it's the size that makes her feel good about herself. That is the most important. I'm not trying to be politically correct. I'm trying to be very real, because a lot of people put so much emphasis on all of the women having to be just these shrinking bodies with heads that are looking bigger and bigger because their bodies are getting so small. And it's hard when you're next to someone who's a size 0. You could be a size 8 and it makes them look even smaller and you even bigger sometimes. So I know that feeling on all ends. Especially after giving birth, that body just, it goes back to a lot of the ways you'd be surprised it would, but it also doesn't. Andy asks Heather why it's making her so emotional, and she says it's because she's happy and proud of herself and that she doesn't want to be mean, but that she doesn't want people to think it has anything to do with taking medication that made her lose weight. Then we get to another viewer question, and it's Bronwyn. You discovered that Lisa knows Gwen's paternal grandparents. Did you intend on sharing that story on the show? Oh, this one is kind of rough. You don't even have to ask me. We all know this one's kind of rough, very rough. Because y'all know I love Baby Gorgeous, but this wasn't good. Bronwyn says no to the question of her intentions of bringing the entire crazy coincidence that Lisa knew the biological paternal grandparents of Gwen, if she was going to bring that to the show. And we get all the flashbacks, and I have to say it really does seem like an absolutely random coincidence. Lisa clarifies that she knew Gwen's dad loosely, but that she's friends with his parents. And Lisa said she knew it was Lisa said I'm going to get my shit together, my friends. My goodness. Lisa said that she knew it was those friends because she used to go to the mom's house, and at the top of the stairs, she had a picture of Gwen's dad. Bronwyn tells Lisa she can't tell her another person, that she didn't tell another person other than Gwen that she's never shown another person a picture of Gwen's dad. My note taking was a little weird. It was a long note taking session, friends. Bronwyn says she's, again, never showed even a photo of Gwen's dad to Todd, which, not to rhyme, but I find that very odd. Why wouldn't you even show him? Okay. And that she was very clear with Lisa about the fact that she's never shown anyone Gwen's dad. Bronwyn showed it to Lisa because Lisa had said Gwen looked like her. And Bronwyn says that when Lisa said that, she didn't know why. Maybe this was this thing she could share with her and confide in her that Gwen looked like her dad and that she felt like their friendship was falling apart and that at the same time, she was just confiding these big things in Lisa, which I'll say again, I think Bronwyn was so desperate to be in good with Lisa that she was sacrificing herself in ways she shouldn't have. And she should have just let it go and gone with the flow when it came to Lisa. She should have gotten to know more of the girls. And I think she realizes that now. I'm not trying to harp on her about that because it does appear that she is aware of that at this point. Bronwyn felt that Lisa's responses were as though she was defending Gwen's grandparents, which Lisa says Bronwyn is referring to what Lisa said on the after show. What Lisa said on the after show is bad. Big bad. It was Lisa saying the grandmother told her last she heard was that Bronwyn had a miscarriage. I'm sorry, trigger warning. Good God. But also, holy shit, Lisa. There were ways to maybe say that without saying that. And she also said on the after show, Lisa, that Gwen's dad's wife reached out to Bronwyn when he passed away. Now, remember, he got married well after they found out Bronwyn was pregnant and all of that. She was not the other woman. And that his wife had said they never got to meet Gwen and that it was really upsetting for them. Lisa says they filmed the after show, at least this is her excuse, that they filmed the after show before the show airs and that she went off of talking innocently with my friend Bronwyn and how I feel for her and Gwen. And I also feel for another family. It's not about their house. It's not about the things they've accomplished. It's about their heart. And that's how I know them, no matter whose perspective you're going from. And that essentially losing a child is the saddest thing that could ever happen to anyone. And that is absolutely true. I don't even want to pretend to attempt to fathom that. But Bronwyn says that that's not what really happened and that she spoke to Lisa at that massage place and that Lisa told Bronwyn. The grandmother told her that they thought Bronwyn had a trigger warning miscarriage. In the flashback of unseen footage, Bronwyn is saying she couldn't believe that these grandparents knew about Gwen and that they wouldn't someday just come for her if they knew about her. And I wouldn't be able to imagine that either. She then says that they did know about Gwen and that Bronwyn's dad actually called Gwen's dad and his parents and that they never heard back. Lisa says that she's only ever been told that they thought Bronwyn didn't have a successful pregnancy and how she's confused now that she's hearing Bronwyn's dad spoke to them. But Bronwyn does clarify that her dad left them a message. I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe her dad called the wrong number. I don't know. It's very sad. It's a horrible situation. And to be honest, it's Bronwyn and Gwen and those grandparents who are still here. And at the end of the day, it's Gwen who's most affected by this. So I'm sorry. It just makes me very sad for Gwen mostly. Bronwyn says that she actually asked production to leave those clips out because she didn't want any of the details out that could identify Gwen's father or the grandparents. And it's interesting because this was going around social media that a couple on the show, it was a blind, had been really down production's throat, making them cut a lot of things. And I have a feeling that's what this is about. And you know what? Nothing bad to say about them deciding that they did not want that on camera. That is absolutely their prerogative and their decision, as well as Gwen's. So Lisa says that Bronwyn didn't tell her that she asked production to keep that out. But Bronwyn says she never told anyone who Gwen's dad or grandparents were and that she never once asked them for money or anything. And she tells Lisa, you are entitled to believe your friends if you want to, but you have been on TV for a long time, much longer than me. And you knew what going on the after show and repeating that I faked a trigger warning miscarriage would do. Lisa denies that she ever said Bronwyn faked a miscarriage. Okay, Lisa, you didn't say that, but what you said about the grandmother thinking that, come on. You were defending the grandmother and why they didn't try to contact Bronwyn or Gwen. I understand that, but there was some other way that you could have said that, period. And it still would have backfired, but using that strong of a word, God. Anyway, Bronwyn is trying to get Lisa to see what her saying that would do to Gwen. But Lisa is saying that Gwen's father passed away, and she's still continuing to dig her heels in and try and make her point. That's when Bronwyn leans over to Whitney and says, she's not going to see this. She's not going to get it. Lisa is now freaking out. And I think it's because Lisa is finally opening her eyes to the fact that she really fucked up here. Lisa starts going off saying, I'm in a lows situation. But Bronwyn is trying to tell Lisa it's not about her being friends with Gwen's bio grandparents, and she wants her to be friends with whomever she would like to. But Lisa is extremely emotional, and Heather just tells her to just say she's sorry because there is no way out of this. And that's true. Lisa, sometimes, baby, you just need to go ahead, eat shit, and say, I did not do something okay, or I did something that wasn't okay. I'm so sorry. And it takes a lot to get Lisa there, unfortunately. And that's what's hard about loving baby gorgeous, is that you can really like her and you can really enjoy her. But at the same time, when it comes down to nitty gritty, deep moments, it is difficult to see her point of view when it's very simple. You hurt someone, you hurt someone's child. And yes, Gwen is 18. She's not a baby. She's not a 10-year-old. But at the same time, I'm sorry, if I were Bronwyn, I would be livid. Bronwyn is trying to tell Lisa that she has got to see that what was said on the after show would affect her and Gwen both. Lisa keeps crying and says she should have never said anything about any of it. Agreed. And then she tells Bronwyn she wishes Bronwyn didn't bring it to camera. Oh, Lisa. Really? Really, Lisa? As Lisa continues on saying she wishes she'd never brought up Gwen's grandparents' names and all of that, Bronwyn says, you have said things on camera that are horrifying. And sadly, because Lisa refuses to just take an L, she leans forward and goes, you have said things that are horrible. Then Lisa looks at Heather and goes, fuck her. Kind of quietly, but Bronwyn still hears. She's not that far away from her. And Bronwyn goes, oh, fuck me. And Lisa goes, fuck yo. You want to make me this horrible human being that I'm not. Bronwyn says Lisa can believe her friends all she wants, but that she doesn't get how Lisa cannot understand how painful that was for both Bronwyn and Gwen that Lisa repeated this on camera. Meredith, God bless, she's saying she thinks that the reason Lisa is crying is because Lisa does realize that. Lisa, love you so much, but stop crying because crying is not an apology. I'm sorry is an apology. Bronwyn tells Lisa that she needs to start with, I'm sorry that I hurt your daughter, and says that Lisa knew people would pick this up and that even if she didn't think all of this all the way through beforehand, that she can now just admit that saying what she said on the after show was a catalyst essentially for the rumors, and that she could say, I don't give a fuck about you anymore, Bronwyn, but I'm sorry I hurt your daughter. And Lisa goes, well, that would be a lie. I'm hoping Lisa meant it would be a lie to say she doesn't care about Bronwyn anymore, but I don't know. Sometimes they confuse me. Clearly, Lisa tells Bronwyn that this is where they struggle, is that Lisa perceives Bronwyn as telling her what she should say and do. But Bronwyn feels that she's giving Lisa options for things she could say instead of digging her heels in. And here I go again. It's more of the flip-flopping. When it comes to Bronwyn, I have to admit, I am much the same way with people that Bronwyn is being. And my intention genuinely is never to script anyone into saying what I want them to say. But where I'm typically coming from is I want you to know what I'm needing in this moment that I'm hurt. But also, it doesn't always come off that way. And that's something I got to work on, because people are not always going to give you, do, or say exactly what you're wanting and needing. They have to do things in their own way. So I think maybe Bronwyn needs to consider that. Take that specifically in. Lisa says she doesn't need options and it was a difficult position that she was put in. I agree, it was, but this is not where you do anything but follow Bronwyn's lead. I mean, obviously, these grandparents could find out, but this is Bronwyn's child. And she has been making all of the decisions for this child for 18 years. That's just my opinion. While I do believe grandparents absolutely have rights, why didn't they follow up and at least check on Bronwyn to see if she was okay, if they genuinely believed that she did not have a successful pregnancy? I understand that's, going through the death of a child would be the worst thing, unimaginable, horrific pain. At the same time, they should have checked on her because it sounds like Gwen was born before her father died. So Meredith decides to help Lisa land this plane and asks Lisa if she feels badly that she hurt Bronwyn and Gwen. I mean, Lisa, we'll hold your hand through it if we need to, right? We'll do it. Lisa just says, listen, if I could have just said what I needed to say, I would have said it. But then there's these chime-ins. I would never want to hurt Bronwyn or Gwen. I understand the magnitude of what I was asked to do. And goes on to say that she realized she could affect any possible happy future between Gwen and the grandparents that they have together, but she thinks both parties had very different experiences, but hoped they could talk and work it out. But Lisa, that's not your decision to make, babe. It's not. Bronwyn says that Lisa isn't remorseful and that she just keeps defending the actions. And Bronwyn is leaving it up to Gwen at the end of all of this to decide whether she wants to pursue a relationship with the grandparents, and that Lisa gave Gwen and Bronwyn their information. Andy asks Bronwyn and Lisa if there's a path forward for them. Bronwyn essentially says Lisa doesn't see her side and isn't taking up for her. And that's what she needs for any path moving forward, because you don't mess with someone's kid, honey. You don't. Finally, Lisa gets to an apology, but gotta be honest, y'all, it's the type of apology I accept from my toddler, an angry one. But it's only acceptable from a toddler because he's 3 and he doesn't know how to regulate his emotions yet. Lisa, I don't know what your age is. It doesn't matter. You're over the age of 3. You're over the age of 25. You need to know how to regulate your emotions when you've hurt someone. Okay? Lisa tells her she's so sorry that she fucked up on a daily basis with Bronwyn and that it affected her. But then she says, I am so sorry. And I'm sorry for them too, because this is a fucked up situation for everybody. Yeah, it is. And it was not your place, Lisa. Love you, but it wasn't. So they break for lunch and we see that the husbands are there. Angie and Whitney are together in a dressing room, and Angie says to Whitney that Lisa's got a lot of shit to work through with her, Whitney, and Bronwyn. And this is as Lisa is crying to John because she's tired of being on this hamster wheel with everyone. And she tells him she thought she was trying to be the best friend she could to Bronwyn this year, that she thought that, but watching it all back, Bronwyn always had a consummate issue with her. Heather is telling her hair and makeup artist that she's annoyed by Bronwyn starting off with her Dame Edna act. What a random ass reference, Heather, but okay. She thinks Bronwyn was basically pandering to the Twitterverse and that she sounds like a politician trying to be politically correct about taking accountability and whatnot. And I think the accountability Bronwyn was talking about taking was not necessarily with all of the other ladies. Let's just put it that way. While Bronwyn is telling Todd that she was trying to be accountable for her behavior and wanted Lisa to get some sort of understanding with her regarding everything with Gwen. And as Todd and Bronwyn are talking about Lisa, Todd says they weren't not friends, but social friends. Bronwyn says, no, I was a social climb. That whenever Lisa wanted to get in a jazz suite, oh my God, not the Utah Jazz again, or come to one of Bronwyn's parties, and Todd Weena I still can't come up with a better female version of Todd. Tina goes, "Of course she can come to our jazz suite and not have to do anything for it, so to speak." Wow, Todd. Wow. Are you wanting a snowflake? Honey. Wow. Okay. So now we're back from lunch and the husbands are there. Bronwyn is telling Mary how much Todd loves her. And if she needs anyone to stick up for her, Todd will do it because he's sitting right behind them. And Andy asks Justin if he's restocked his Vita tequila after pouring it down the drain whenever they had that big fight with Lisa at Angie's anniversary party. I mean, that was the anniversary party heard around the world, honey. Andy asks Mary why they didn't see Robert Sr. this season. Y'all, I gotta be real. I thought it was because Mary and Robert Sr. were separating or separated. I don't know that they were getting a divorce that I heard, but did anyone else hear that? I swear I did not make this up. But Mary says, well, for obvious reasons, he does not want to be a part of this. He's happy and he's good with his life and doesn't want anything to interrupt it. Okay. It's now to how the husbands have gotten involved in things and that they were topics of a lot of, situations, strife, issues. It becomes about Bronwyn and Todd's relationship. A viewer question comes in about Todd being quote unquote blunt. I call it being an arsehole, and asking Bronwyn if she was concerned about him being on the show. She says they've had some important conversations watching it back together and that she thought they had a good relationship before and during filming, but now it's even better. Y'all, we haven't heard that a million times. She said she saw different perspectives of how she speaks to Todd. I really didn't think she was that rude to him. I mean, yeah, did she go a little too far thinking it was funny to make jokes about their marriage like she did at the anniversary party? Yeah. I mean, she was trying to do her party shtick. It's very clear to me that Bronwyn goes to a lot of parties, hosts a lot of parties, and finds that she needs to be the entertainment. So that's the way I took it. She took it too far, but that was pretty much the worst of how she was with Todd. Todd says he feels the same way and that he thinks it's interesting that the number of people in this group that some of them don't even know my name and asserted things about me, which is strange, right? And Heather's face says it all, which is we all know it's directed at her. He says that just because people have opinions they can share freely, it doesn't mean that their opinions are true. He also says that he thinks people are envious of them and what they've accomplished over the 10 years they've been together. Sir, the only thing I envy is your credit limit. Andy asks what specifically has made them stronger after seeing the way they spoke to each other on the show. And Bronwyn says she has a tendency to be sarcastic in her humor and that she always wants to make the joke about herself first before somebody else gets to it. I get that. And it makes all the jokes that she was making about their marriage at the anniversary party make a little more sense. But that she also admits that it can come across as her making jokes at Todd and their marriage's expense. And clearly, Andy sees that Bronwyn is the only one at the moment taking accountability when Todd is the one that was an asshole to her. He asks Todd about what he saw in himself and his behavior watching it back. All Todd says is that he saw that he could be gruff and too direct, and that he's committed to working on that with Bronwyn. And basically, that what set him off in all those moments is that he felt that they were having ninth grade playground arguments. I mean, kind of, but also not. Andy asks if they agreed on anything being off limits before filming. Oh, honey. And Todd tells him that Gwen was what they agreed on. Or I'm sorry, Gwendolyn. You know he never calls her just Gwen. He calls Gwendolyn. He says that Gwen was off limits because he's been a parent to her since she was 8 years old. So he's really a parent to Gwen, and anything about her being said was unacceptable to him. And that the things that were said were, quote, almost to the point of being libelous in what was asserted. And God bless your precious, sweet little heart, John Barlow, for standing up for your wife. But oh no, no, not the time. John asks Todd who brought Gwen up, and Todd's like, your wife. John says that Lisa did not bring her up, and they both just continuously disagree on that because clearly they're not going to agree on it. Bronwyn says to John that Todd is speaking on the after show, but John says he doesn't care and that Lisa isn't who brought it up on camera, but that Bronwyn did. Andy's favorite word is here because he says he doesn't want to relitigate this argument. Lisa starts to say, Todd, I get where you're coming from. And Todd stops her saying, let me be clear about something. You asserting Bronwyn had a, trigger warning, miscarriage, which is why. And John stops him and tells him to watch his tone. Well, damn, John Barlow, what are you going to do? But Todd goes, I'm not watching my tone. Watch your tone. Woof, woof. Next week, what we see is coming is, well, what Lisa said about Sean in the finale. And Meredith apparently takes notes on what has been said about her. Has a whole list of the things that she feels this group has asserted about her. And we get Brittany. Dear God, Brittany, she's either going to come in thinking that, you know what, I wasn't strong and hard on them all this season and I didn't stand up for myself. So now's the time that I'm just going to really hammer it in. Baby girl, I don't know. We're going to see. We also are going to be seeing that Robert Jr. is brought up and it even makes Andy cry. And I guess Whitney was very touched, moved, sad, heartbroken by it, I guess we could say. I think this is when it gets hard when the husbands get involved. There are very few franchises that they actually do this on. Jersey being the main one that they will bring the husbands out. And we know how that ended. And I swear to God, if y'all do anything to my Salt Lake City, I will lose it. Okay? I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me. That sneeze was just for you, YouTube. Anywho, besties, thank you so much for joining me. I know I need to cover Beverly Hills. It's not doing it for me. Neither is Southern Charm. I don't know what to do. I'm so behind on Southern Charm and Southern Hospitality. It's almost like one of those ADHD comatose things coming. What I may do is what I've had to do once this season for Salt Lake City, which is literally use an entire freaking weekend and just cover all the episodes, but they will not be able to be as detailed. So, we'll see. I would like to know how you guys prefer that because I don't know if you loved having a huge amalgamation of all the episodes broken down into 3 podcast episodes. Let me know. I love hearing from y'all. I really, really do. Be sure and follow me at Besties by Caitlin, CAITLIN on Instagram and TikTok, and subscribe to Besties by Caitlin on YouTube because I will be working on uploading more videos. I've missed the besties here and I love you all dearly. Also, be sure and check out the Etsy merch shop with all of the designs by yours truly, Pop Culture Besties. And aside from that, I will see you all soon. I don't want to make a promise about when Beverly Hills Catch Up will be coming out or any of that because I barely made it through this recording today. I do feel like I have knives in my throat, but we did it. So if my voice sounds weird, I'm sure I'm going to get a review about a baby voice or a annoying voice. Love to talk shit on my voice over there. But I couldn't help it today. So, besties, I will talk to you soon. I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.